Live from the PCTV studios, the Monday Morning Quarterback. Your host, Dave Ridenauer.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to yet another edition of the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show. I'm Dave Ridenauer, the Monday Morning Quarterback, and we're in studio for the first time this year. Got a couple of great guests here we want to get started with. Big show planned for you here this evening. So sit back and relax and enjoy the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback. We're going to take a quick time out. We come back. We got high school stuff on the agenda when we come back.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
Yeah.
At Vlahos Dunn Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Dunn Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Dunn Insurance, and we're in your community.
Doc's Irish Pub, the hottest new sports bar around. From live entertainment to countless draft beers. From awesome burgers to the new outside tiki bar. Numerous TVs and Doc's friendly service. Doc's Irish Pub is the place to be. Stop by Doc's today for a leisurely lunch, a quick cold beer, or a delicious bite to eat on a fall night. Doc's Irish Pub.
Back here on the show, again, we're in our Pottstown High School studio where it's very, very warm. So we'll be sweating a little bit up here, but also having a lot of fun. As I mentioned last week, Coach Mick is still under the weather. He's recuperating from some surgery. We wish him nothing but the best. But we have some fun guys in charge here now in his stead. Former Pottsgrove coach Rick Pennypacker and also PV guy, longtime coach Scott Reed. And guys, it's great that we're in the middle of high school football season again. It's always a fun time for us. Thanks for coming on board, and we'll get into it a little bit, okay? All right. Good. Well, normally what we start off our show with is our top five. This week will be no exception to that. We want to thank Ronnie Reinhardt, Keith Reinhardt, and all the Reinhardt boys. They've been with us from the get-go as well. Ronnie, a heck of a football player back in his day and a Hall of Famer as well. And our top five looks like this. We have PJP up at number 1 at 4-0. Those Pottsgrove Falcons right there breathing down their neck, also undefeated. Springford and Owen J. Roberts at 3-1. Perk Valley at 2-2. That is our top five, again, brought to you by the Reinhardt Paint. And guys, I tell you right now, the Liberty Division better be careful because those Frontier teams are breathing down their neck and they're trying to get themselves the respect that they deserve in this Pioneer Athletic Conference. We looked at the non-league schedule, Scotty. We were talking about 16-8 for the Frontiers and 10-14 for the Liberty Division.
And I believe it was 2-3 for the 2-3 for the Liberty against Frontier matchups. So right now, a lot of people talk about the Frontier not being able to hang with some of the big schools, but when we're talking about 5A schools in the Frontier and 6A schools in the Liberty Division, there's not a big difference. And I think those Frontier teams play with a little chip on their shoulder when they get their shot against the big schools.
Well, Rick, obviously, you know, you had your wars in there, and obviously Pottsgrove was very, very successful. And against now, because they have the two separate divisions, that maybe some of the bigger schools don't even want to play some of the smaller schools. It's not a win-win situation for them. I still know that you'd like the crossover games. I know that I like them as well. But the Frontier division holding their own and then some this year.
And they will, because the Frontier division has some great coaches in that area down there. I think you know, Pottsgrove and PJP is doing a tremendous job. I think that we, athletic directors, and I know this may not be a popular thing to say, but athletic directors got to look at this. You know, who from O&J wants to go watch O&J play, travel to Oxford, and Pottsgrove play Glen Mills when you could have Pottsgrove play O&J? And that's not there anymore. Those border rivalries aren't there. You know, you don't have O&J playing Phoenixville anymore. You don't have Phoenixville playing Springfield anymore. And those rivalries are I think it's hurting high school football. I really do.
And again, my Trojans at 3-1 are doing a heck of a job this year. I know they have really been stuck by numbers. I mean, their school enrollment is down, and they've had problems trying to get some games and some teams that they could compete with. Numbers-wise, but they seem to be settling in pretty well and playing some teams. Again, they're playing Methacton, again, which is another Pioneer Athletic Conference game. A couple other non-league games. They've played a Westchester team, which, you know, is always a good squad.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I don't know. You two guys were certainly involved in it. Is it hard to find these non-league games because they need 4 of them now? It's not like the first game of the season when everybody has an opportunity to play. Now you got to find 4 teams that aren't in your division.
Well, we always had a hard time finding games. I don't know how Scott felt at Perk Valley. We had a hard time because the big schools didn't want to play us. We would go out and try to find someone to play us, like a 5A, 6A school, and they just wouldn't play us because of the bonus points, because they're playing a 4A school. They think they're not going to get enough points. But sometimes when you play a 6A and you beat a Pottsgrove who's a 4A, and Pottsgrove wins 8 games, well, that's like beating a 6A who has a 500 record.
Right.
So, but it's all about these playoff points, and I think that, you know, I see we're playing teams that I don't even know where these teams are.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know where some of them are.
And Rob Heist, who has succeeded you at PV, you know, they're playing the Downingtowns, they're playing Penn Ridge, they're playing a pretty nice non-league schedule. Is it because A, they want to? I think they want to elevate their level of play in their program, but also are they having difficulty finding games?
Well, I think the biggest issue a lot of times is once you start winning, that pool of teams that are willing to play you start to get smaller. So you have, you know, for instance, if you talk about Perk Valley, I think they've won 3 championships in the last 4 years. Now these teams in District 1, you make a couple runs in the District 1 playoffs, and they're like, I don't know if I want to play Perk Valley. So now who starts knocking on your door? North Penn, Downingtown,
Right,
Coatesville, and then your list becomes short. I think the biggest struggle, and I think if Rick would agree with me on this one, is always week 4. Because there's just not that many. There, a lot of teams by week 4 are getting into league play.
Yeah. Well, again, I look at Boyertown and Berks Catholic playing. I'm like, I can't figure that game out. I really can't. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't really benefit Boyertown. I mean, you know, Berks Catholic certainly a team that is statewide tradition and a very, very good squad. But yet they're a couple levels lower than Boyertown. I couldn't quite figure that game out at all.
No, I couldn't either. But, you know, I think Boyertown probably couldn't find anybody to play them that 4th week. Like Scott said, the 4th week is the hardest week because everyone's getting into their league. So the 4th week for Pottsgrove was always a hard time. We had to pick up Glen Mills.
Okay. Well, let's look at the scoreboard from last week. Our scoreboard is brought to you by Paul Bauer, an attorney that you can count on. There you see the numbers. Give him a call. He'll handle anything for you, from wills to whatever. He's a great guy, and he's helped a lot of us out in the area, myself included, and he is a great guy to give a call. Remember, Paul Bauer, an attorney that you can count on. And we can see the scoreboard here of the games from last week. There you see the Pope John Paul Spring 4 with big wins. You talked about the Phoenixville and traveling to Chichester, which they came up short. And Rick, a game I know you saw a little bit of, the O&J Upper Marion game. At least there's 2 teams in the Pioneer Athletic Conference. The game we were at was Pottstown and Methacton, and then Cheltenham and Norristown, with Cheltenham with a big win there. But again, there you can see all the different scores. And what I wanted to talk about a little bit is, believe it or not, they're starting to talk about those district playoffs already in the 6A, and they take 16 teams, okay, that O&J is 9, Springford 12, and PV at 16 at this point. And there's still a lot of football to go, obviously, but they're starting to get all that stuff squared away.
Absolutely, and really when we talk about these playoffs, and we wrote it down, in the non-league games, the Liberty has brought in 100 bonus points, but the Frontier has been able to bring in 160 bonus points. So going in the league in the 5 games you're going to play, you know if you're in the Frontier division, you already have those points in hand because just by playing those teams.
And Rick, in the 4A, which obviously you're very, very well versed at, Pottsgrove is the #1 team, and Pottstown is right there behind them at #2. And I guess they only take 4.
They take 4. I think there's only 6 or 7 schools in there. That 4A has really, been scrambled now because you have Upper Perk going up to 5A, you have
Right.
Middleburg going up to 5A.
Phoenixville.
Well, they've been 5A.
Oh, okay.
And then you have Pope John Paul went down to 3A,
Right.
I think. So those packed schools that were in the 4A are no longer there. So I think Pottsgrove and Pottstown have a pretty easy, not easy, but I think they got a trail right into the 4A because they're not going to take many teams.
Well, and again, if they can continue on the path that they're on, that's going to be a good thing for them. And Pope John Paul is the #2 rated team in District 1 in the 3A. All right, guys.
I want to say one thing about Scott. When we were talking about 6A there, Scott and I were both on the steering committee for the PAC, and we would go to all the meetings down there. And I think that the PAC is really, with the success of Springford, Perk Valley, I think they have really opened up the eyes into 6A and O&J making it last year. I think when we used to go down there, they used to just look down on the PAC. But now I think with some of the success we've had in 6A, I think that's really made us look pretty good up here.
Well, you know as well as I do that back in the day when they had the Montgomery County All-Star game, there were a lot of good football players that got overlooked because they would take 10 guys from North Penn. They'd take 10 guys from this school, all the big schools, and there were a lot of good football players that didn't get chosen because of that, and they didn't have the reputation of being a tough league. But now that certainly has changed.
That's changed.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right, let's get right into it. Let's talk about your old Falcons. Your old Falcons had to play Glen Mills. The game was changed from Glen Mills to Pottsgrove because of field conditions. We're still battling Mother Nature as she's rearing her ugly head again. What we saw down in North Carolina, unfortunately, we missed a lot of that kind of stuff, but still a lot of rain and a lot of weather conditions up here. That game was moved to Pottsgrove. And hey, Bill Hawthorne, 4-0 coach, he's doing a heck of a job. He learned a lot, obviously, from his predecessor. And he's adding his own little flair in there, but another shutout win for the Grove.
You know, their defense is dominating. When you hold Glen Mills to minus 25 yards rushing, I think they caused 7 turnovers last week. You know, they got some kids on that defense that are players. You know, when you have Bedolis and Adams and Owens and Seaman and those guys, Glover and the
Springfield, you got a couple secondary guys back. Yeah.
I tell you what, they're tough kids. They know how to win. They won last year. They just keep it rolling. I think that and I read in the paper all the time. I just want to hear what kids say, and I think coaches realize that offensive line that Pottsgrove has, 4 of the 6 of those guys are back from last year, and they're pretty dominating. And they got to stay healthy. They got to stay grounded. They got to keep their heads straight. They got to keep take one game at a time. But I don't see too many teams getting up on Pottsgrove with that defense. That defense is pretty good.
Well, it's funny, Scott, you came in with your old notebook and trying to figure out the old Pottsgrove, how you could beat them and whatever, and they just keep on rolling, and another big win for them. Jay Cisco, a guy who doesn't throw it often, but he's one of those heady little guys that really do a good job. He was 5 for 6, a couple of touchdowns that he's responsible for, also can get out of trouble with his legs. They're going to be a tough team again this year.
Well, I think Coach Hawthorne's always been a creative play caller. I think he wanted to open up the offense. But if I look at week 1 when they played West Catholic, it was a sloppy game. I think they were held to under 100 yards. I think Pottsgrove's gotten back to being Pottsgrove, getting on the ground, grinding things out. Isaiah Taylor was over almost 150 yards rushing. That's Pottsgrove football. And when they're doing that, and they're getting first down after first down, it is absolutely demoralizing. And I think Coach Hawthorne has those guys starting to believe that let's get downhill, let's get the ball on the ground, and let's get after people again.
Yeah, and I talked to him after the game. He says offensive and defensive lines are the heart of the team, Rick. And I know you took a lot of pride in coaching both sides of the ball in the trenches, and obviously they are continuing with that. The second shutout of the season, and 6 turnovers is what I had. It could have been 7. But again, Pottsgrove finishes their non-league portion of their schedule undefeated for the second straight year. All right, let's move down to Royersford now. You know, you were down there as well, Rick, and your alma mater. They hook up with Exeter, a team that knocked off Boyertown earlier in the season, so they were familiar with the Pioneer Athletic Conference a little bit. In a game that has to go to overtime, I know Chad Brubaker, in his 9th season down there, the senior of the Pioneer Athletic Conference, if you will, likes his team, likes this young Ryan Engro kid at quarterback who is only a junior. Tell us a little bit about your observations there.
I saw the second half down there, and this Engro kid's the real deal. I think, you know, Chad maybe hasn't been showing him off as much, but when people see him, this kid is the real deal. You know, he had 4 touchdowns the other night. You know, Springfield only had 29, 30 yards rushing the other night. They had to throw the ball, but Exeter was blitzing like crazy. There was no one in the middle of the field. He's got some great receivers out there. This kid that played basketball.
Yeah,
Baker
Noah
kid,
Baker, yeah.
Bonani, whatever his name is.
Yep.
Those guys are just tremendous. And Scarcelli's little brother. Those guys, they have some receivers down there. And this Engro kid can play. This kid, I was more shocked that, and I think Scott will agree with me on this. Everyone thinks about Springfield. You think about their talent, offense. Their defense is what won games when we used to play them. They were tough defensively, and I think, you know, they had Exeter had like 460, 70 yards total offense on them, and that's not Springfield defense. And I think Coach Shine, Coach Mick will get that taken care of.
Well, you know, obviously, you know, I didn't realize the rivalry that PV and Springford had till my sons went to Springford, and I got involved in it and followed them. Obviously, that's a heck of a game. So you had your wars with Springford. But again, that's something I think that PV and both Springford share in common is the fact that they've been so prolific offensively that people forget that they play pretty good defense as well down there.
Well, what I think when I look at Springford, I got to see them week 2 versus Wayne Valley. I saw some of their game against CB South on film in week 1. They have a culture of winning. They're used to winning, and I think a good program, the big signal of a good program is how well you win close games. And somehow, some way, they find ways to win. And if you have a quarterback like Ryan Engro, who is a junior and taking his first varsity snaps, his special teams and defense carried them week 1 and 2. As they went into Wilson, as they won this game against Exeter, you're starting to see the offense come along. Now, if Springford can bring along that offense with the defense they've played over the last few years, they're going to be a force to reckon with in the Liberty Division. All
right, Owen J. Roberts, as mentioned, played in a Pioneer Athletic Conference crossover game. They took on Upper Marion, who has been playing pretty well. Vic Brown, in his second year, had his squad come in at 2-1. But Rich Kolka's gang really came out, and the whole game was played in the first quarter, Rick, they went up 21-0, and then all of a sudden the game got into a dogfight in a ground game, and both defenses sort of stood up and held their ground. But a big win. Cooper Chamberlain, a guy, as we mentioned before, has some big shoes to fill as he has to replace a 4-year starter when their quarterback graduated from last year. And this young Marcus Martin guy, a little scat back out there, they bring him from all over the place. He's a solid player.
I like him. I thought he was, I think Coach Kolka did a great job getting the ball to him in all different ways, you know, on the jet sweep, on a screen pass. I was also impressed with the quarterback. I thought he held himself pretty well there. I really was impressed with Upper Marion's numbers. You know, Upper Marion had, I don't know if they have a 9th grade team or not, but they must have had 60, 65 kids dressed on the sidelines. And I was very impressed. I think Vic Brown's doing a great job. After the first quarter, they settled in, they started playing some football, and they shut them out for 3 quarters. So I think that, you know, Owen J. was a great win for them. I know Coach Kolk is very happy with the way they play, but I also think Coach Brown can take some positives out of that game and move forward when he gets into the Frontier Division.
Well, I had Blair Thomas on my show last year, whose son is in the junior high system, and he's helping coach out in the junior high team, and they're getting the numbers out, so they're getting guys. Brad Scioli, the former All-American at Penn State, who played with the Colts, also on the staffs there. So Vic Brown doing some pretty good things down there. Look for good things out of both the Cats and Upper Marion this year, Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's sneaky about Upper Marion is they're 2-2, but if you look at their scores, they're actually playing really good defense. And that might be a credit to O&J a little bit. While you have guys like Marcus Martin had a big game, even Cooper Chamberlain came out and threw the ball around a little bit. I think the strength of O&J and the leadership of O&J this year is their offensive line. And anytime we're talking about offensive line and defensive line, this game, I don't care what anybody says, you can do all the fanciest stuff in the world, but it still comes down to blocking and tackling. And if you can't beat those guys up front, you're not going to be able to do any of the fun stuff behind it.
Well, you know, it's funny. We sort of giggle here a little bit because, you know, when we talk about O&J Roberts' offensive and defensive lines, we always think of Hank Burnett and Joe Edwards.
Right.
You know, two guys that were, Joe obviously unfortunately passed away some years ago, but he was Hank's right-hand man, and Hank is still alive, and we talked to him. Hopefully we'll get him on the show again this year. Rick will have some big fun with him, but they love that offensive and defensive line play, and that's been a tradition over at O&J for a lot of years.
Yeah, we used to hate playing O&J when they ran that 50 defense, and they had some kids up there that could just play two gaps and hold you up, and they were tough.
Yeah.
And I think
and always a big old nose guard in the middle there, and they'd X-stun in the side with their linebackers, and if you weren't ready for that and couldn't zone block, you were going to get knocked off. And Rich Culkin at 3-1 has to be pretty happy with where he sits. All right, let's go down there to your old squad, Perkiomen Valley. They had some field issues and some problems. They ended up having to play at Phoenixville on Saturday on the turf, which I think sort of benefits PV with their skilled players and their position guys. You know, Cole Peterson is a heck of a quarterback in his second year now. They have a big win over one of your old nemesis and a team you used to run into quite a bit, particularly in the districts. Interborough, they knock them off 42-14, Rick.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked at that score because I know Interborough prides himself on playing good defense, and they're tough, hard-nosed Delaware County kids. But you know, this quarterback, this Cole Peterson, and I guess it's Domine. I guess that's his little brother Scott. I don't know who he is, but you know,
Isaiah Domine.
Yeah, 3 touchdown passes, and you know, I think Coach Hayes got it going down there. And again, there's the offensive line. I saw PV play Downingtown West in the first game of the year, and I was impressed with their offensive line. I think their defense is coming around. They're young, and I think they're going to start, you know, coming around more. And I think Coach Young and those guys will coach them up, and they'll do just fine. Well,
Dominic gets just 5 balls, 3 of them go for touchdowns, so he certainly does have a pretty good connection with the quarterback. John Moshe is a guy I like. I like him, and I think he could have a big role because I know they like to throw their backs coming out of the backfield. David Williams had a couple of big years with PV, but I see their offense again as one that could be very, very dominant. But again, they hold Interborough to 14 points. There we go. We overlooked the defense a little bit because we're so impressed by the numbers that they put up.
Absolutely. I think with Perk Valley, their biggest thing this year coming in, they had 9 positions to fill on defense, and those 9 new kids got thrown in the fire. You're going against PV West, who's got one of the best quarterbacks in the district. You go against Downingtown East, West, and then Downingtown East, who likes to ground and pound. So those guys were put under fire quick. Against Penn Ridge, he had a sloppy field, but they were able to keep them to 12 points. So you're starting to see if that PV defense can start to get the experience, the much-needed experience. And I know Coach Young will have him in great position. There's no doubt about that. Him and Coach Connolly get it done. But if that defense comes along and keeps improving week in and week out, I have no doubt there'll be another team that will give people problems in the Liberty Division.
Absolutely. And all you stat guys and fantasy people, you know, Dominic has 15 catches and 8 touchdowns out of his 15 catches. And Peterson is nearing in on 1,000 yards already this year throwing the football. So you better be ready to play some defense, buckle those chin straps when you take on the Vikings. All right, and the last game that we're going to talk a little bit about here before we take a break is that Pope John Paul, who is the #1 team in our top 5. I tell you what, Roy Graver doing a heck of a job down there, particularly the last 2 years. He's really turned things around. They get a transfer in. This Kamal Gray, at quarterback, has really been a shot in the arm for that school and the whole student body and whatever. They knock off Schuylkill Valley 42-14. Yeah. I'll tell you what, you talked about them in the beginning of the season, Rick. You liked their team.
I talked to Coach Graver in the offseason, and he said to me that he was very, very impressed with his offensive line and what they're going to have this year on the offensive defensive line. He said, if I can get a quarterback, we may be able to do some damage. Now, this Gray kid, I haven't seen him play yet, but I hear he's something else. He's not only a good thrower, but he can also run the ball a little bit. And he's got this kid Scarback, and
Stevie's kid, played at Pius.
He's got some great bloodlines in there, and he intercepted a pass and caught one for a touchdown. And you know, but Coach Graver wasn't happy the first half. I guess he had to talk to him a little bit at halftime. But he also said, in the newspaper that the difference in the game was their offense and defensive line, and I think that again we're back to that up-front people. You got to have those up-front people if you're going to be successful.
And Coach Graver, we talked about it. You and I, we talked about it Monday. When you're a first-year coach, second-year coach, you're all full of vim and vigor, and you're ready to tackle this job, and you're really not, but you think you are. And now he's settled in his fourth, fifth season now, and he's starting to really get his program in place down there, and they're starting to reap the benefits of that as the Golden Panthers have really, really improved over the last few years.
Yeah, I think as from going from first-year coach to having multiple years under your back, what starts to happen is you start to streamline things. You start to figure out this is important, maybe that's not important, maybe I don't need to have this in, maybe I should have this in, and you start to streamline your offense a little bit. I think for Pope John Paul right now, they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder, especially going into Frontier play, because of the way they started last season and ended last season. I think this senior class is saying to themselves, hey, we got a lot to prove week in and week out, but we want to go from beginning to end and finish as strong as we started.
That's a great point. Well, we're going to take a quick timeout. We're going to pat it down up here and get a little drink of water here. We take a quick timeout. We come back. We're going to preview as we start week 1 of divisional play here in the Pioneer Athletic Conference in the Frontier Division and the Liberty Division. We'll be right back on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show.
This portion of Monday Morning Quarterback is brought to you by A to Z Furniture. A to Z Furniture is located on 296 South Reading Avenue in Boyertown. Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
Fred Beans Ford of Boyertown is located on Route 100, just 2 miles north of Boyertown. Fred Beans Ford provides automotive sales, service, parts, and body shop all in one place. They're open 6 days a week. Fred Beans Ford in Boyertown can be reached at 800-222-0243, 800-222-0243, or online at fredbeans.com.
Doc's Irish Pub, the hottest new sports bar around. From live entertainment to countless draft beers. From awesome burgers to the new outside tiki bar. Numerous TVs and Doc's friendly service. Doc's Irish Pub is the place to be. Stop by Doc's today for a leisurely lunch, a quick cold beer, or a delicious bite to eat on a fall night. Doc's Irish Pub.
Welcome to the office of John H. Greismeyer Jr., where we believe in the value of relationships. We take pride in giving you the assistance you need, where that involves income tax, payroll, or financial statement preparation. Located in Boyertown, we're committed to meeting the needs of the people in our community, and our team of skilled financial professionals look forward to working with you. John H. Greismeyer Jr. Call us or visit our website now.
We're back here on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show. I'm Dave Ryder, the Monday Morning Quarterback, joined by 2 former coaches, 2 guys with a lot of knowledge in the local area, particularly in the high school football ranks, Scotty Reed and also Rick Pennypacker. Let's go to the Frontier Division now. We have our first week, which should be very, very interesting. Let's go Upper Perk and PJP. That's our number 1 team in the top 5 right now at 4-0. Upper Perk struggled a little bit. They lose to Fleetwood last week, which is not a good win. I'm sure Tom Hans and his staff is not going to be happy as we look at the first week. Rick, let's start with you on that. Upper Perk at PJP.
This is going to be an interesting game because I've seen those games before, Upper Perk and PJP, and it's been a war. They really get after each other. Last year I watched that game down there, and it was pretty intense. I don't know what's going on at Upper Perk. They had this little kid that was on your show.
Yeah. Reed.
And I haven't seen him. So
yeah, he had a touchdown. He had a kickoff return and whatever, but he had been hurt, I think.
I just know the kid is a speeder,
right.
A speed kid and everything. Tommy Hans will get those kids going up there. He'll get them moving around. He'll. I think he has a young team. I think he'll do just fine. I think PJP, this is going to be a test for them. You know, they're either getting to the Pac-10 or the Pac, and it'll be a big test for them to see if they can come up. I think Upper Perk will be physical with them, and we'll see what happens.
PJP at home. Again, they've been having some field issues too, so we're not quite sure where that game will end up being. But if the weather stays nice, it should be a home game for them. How do you break down PJP and Upper Perk?
Well, obviously for Pope John Paul, it's a huge advantage playing at home on a Saturday, and there's no stands there, and it really it throws you off because it's just a different type of environment. They have music playing and all that kind of stuff. Be that as it may, I mean, Upper Perk's scoring a lot of points this year. You had Reed and Weary combined for over 100 yards rushing, and they're going to need that in a major way. Because if you're going to keep pace with Pope John Paul and the way they're throwing the ball and scoring points, your best defense is going to be a run control and ball control offense. And I'm sure Coach Hans wants to take the physicality to Pope John Paul, control the game with the run game, maybe shorten the game a little bit, and keep themselves in it for the fourth quarter.
We talked about Vic Brown and the Upper Marion gang, 2-2. 2 shutouts this season. They really have improved defensively. They're going to travel to Phoenixville. Don Grinstead is back in the fold, as he was the former Pottstown coach for a couple years, went to Florida, now he's back. He kind of likes his team, although they got spanked over the weekend in a loss. So they're going to rebound a little bit. Rick, how does the Phantoms face up against
we
now
haven't
Upper
talked
Marion?
about the Phantoms, but I read in the paper where the coach from Chichester, I think, said that if they had one more possession, he thinks that Phoenixville would have scored because their kids were beat up front. And I think Phoenixville must have some physical offensive line up there. And I think that's Don Grinstead's, one of his trademarks is to be physical up front. But I think it's going to be a great game. You got Don Jackson, who used to be the defense coordinator at Phoenixville. Now he's the defensive coordinator down there at Upper Marion. He coached with us for 1 year. I know he wants to go back there and have a good showing. If Upper Marion can get some offense, their defense is playing pretty well. They can get some offense. It just seems like they're not, they get a 3-yard game, a 6-yard game, and then a 5-yard loss. And if Vic can come up with something to keep penetration from up front, I think he'll do well.
Well, we talked about that, learning how to win games. And
right.
They haven't won down there for a while, and Vic Brown certainly comes from winning backgrounds. I'm sure he'll have them ready. Phoenixville now, though, with Washington and Patania, they got some skill players as well.
Absolutely. I think I see a low-scoring game. I see a grinded-out type of game. Obviously, Alex Washington's one of the top 3 rushers in the league. So of course, Phoenixville's going to work that. The big thing with Phoenixville, I noticed against Chichester, just really low in their passing yards. I think 22 yards passing, and you're not going to have a lot of balance, and it's easy to load the box up, and I'm sure Don Jackson's well aware of that as he's watching the film. So I see a short game. A lot of running the ball. I see a tough defensive game, and that should be a good battle.
All right, and a game I'm really looking forward to is a crosstown rival, a game that I played in a lot of years and coached in quite a few as well. Pottstown Pottsgrove, number 1 and number 2 ranked teams in the 4A division in District 1. Pottstown coming off a big win against Methacton. And Pottsgrove still undefeated under their first-year coach, Bill Hawthorne. And Rick, you've been in these battles for a lot of years, and you can sort of throw away the record books, and it's going to be a big game. It's at Pottsgrove, I believe. Is it at Pottsgrove? At Pottstown. Okay, I'm sorry. It's at Pottstown, which is a big advantage for the Trojans here at Grigg Memorial. Rick, tell us a little bit about it.
You can throw out the records. I've played in this game for years and years and years, and there's teams that we brought teams over here that we thought we were just going to dominate, and we're fighting in the last quarter to win the game. I think they know each other. The kids all probably play in PAL football with each other. They run around together. They're friends. But this is a pretty good rival, and I think the parents get involved and everything, and so Pottsgrove on paper looks like the favorite for this game, but they better stay focused on this game, because I'm sure Coach Fisher and his staff over here has something planned for them. And Pottstown is always one of those teams where we can never ever finesse them. If you're going to go at them, we had to go right at them. They were not a team. If we tried to run some fancy plays or try to get the ball downfield, they were able to cover us. They had the athletes that we had. So this is going to be, I'm interested to see how this game's going to turn out.
I am too. And Scott, we did the game on Friday night, and we sort of both fell in love with the quarterback. I said that if I was the coach of that team, we'd have to carry him off the field at the end of every game, because he'd get his work running the ball, throwing the ball as a dual threat guy. I think the old Josiah Wiggins is going to have a big one here on Friday night.
Obviously, he's going to have to carry his team along with Figueroa. But hey, both of these teams are coming in a combined 7-1. You got Pottsgrove at Pottstown Friday night at Grigg Memorial. I mean, it couldn't get any more classic than that. If I'm these kids, I'm super excited about this game. The only mistake Pottstown ever made was getting rid of their end zone bleachers. Because there's nothing like, I know Coach can attest to this. If you're from O&J or Pottsgrove and you walk through those end zone bleachers, it was something to behold, and it just set the tone for the atmosphere at Grigg Memorial.
Yeah, those were the good old days.
The funny thing was, funny story, we were playing over here one time, and it was a little bit of rain, and we had to park our buses down there behind the visitor section. So Gary Dorenzo is the athletic director, and he says, "Oh, bring your." I said, "No, we're going in this end. We're coming in. We're not going through this."
Well, it's funny.
That was intimidating.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, back in the '70s, I remember Coachville. They'd bring 4 busloads of guys, and they pulled right up that sidewalk there, let the kids out, let them run right in there real quickly. They didn't even walk them down. That was Coachville. Now you know what? Coachville has always been a team that was intimidating as well, and that was always a lot of fun for us. All right, the Liberty Division, real quick now. Springford travels to Norristown. Springford at 3-1. They're in our top 5. Norristown, under first-year coach Milligan, is still trying to find his way, coming off a tough loss at Cheltenham. Rick, like I said, on paper, Springford looks to have a little bit of advantage there, but can Norristown throw something at them?
Well, you know, I haven't seen Norristown this year. I don't know much about their coach. I know they had some kids coming back that they were excited about. They have some good athletes out there. I'm sure Coach Brubaker will want to run the ball, see if he can't get the running game going in this game here, and plays good defense. But I'm just excited to see what's going to happen here with some of these new coaches coaching up against Coach Brubaker and Coach Huntz or Coach Heiss and these guys in Liberty, because we got some new guys in there. It's going to be interesting to see how they turn out.
Scotty, your thoughts?
I think Norristown is going to obviously play well at home. I think there might be a year or two away, but I think their leadership is going in the right direction. I know I loved coaching with them in the All-Star games, Coach Rod down there. I know Norristown has the right people in place, has the right leadership in place to get their program moving forward. I think week by week you're going to see more and more improvement. They got 2 quarterbacks right now between Watson and D'Onofrio. It sounds like Watson's more the runner. He was 10 for 30, which isn't great completion percentage, while D'Onofrio was 4 for 5 but negative 2 yards rushing. Right. So it's going to be interesting what they want to do against Springford.
Now, Methacton, we saw on Friday night, scored the first points of the season. Still winless. They haven't played well. They're struggling down there. Coach Lotier, who I think is going to do a good job, and Coach Zulli, who's one of your guys running the offense. They look like they were thinking too much out there. It looks like they're trying to put in way too much. They should simplify a little bit maybe and try to get some things going. They got to go over to Boyertown. And Boyertown is no piece of cake over there. Rick, you and I both like that squad. That should be an interesting ball game.
Yeah, it should be. I don't know what's going on with Boyertown right now. I thought they would be much better than what they have shown right now in defense. Their defense is really struggling. You know, they gave up 62 points against
Berks Catholic.
Again. It looks like the run game against Boyertown has really been they've been susceptible to the run. So I don't know how much run game that Methacton is going to put in this week. You know, it seems like they're trying to run this run and shoot and spread and all this stuff and throwing the ball all over the place. But it'll be interesting to see how much the coaches from Methacton have kind of like simplified things, because it seemed like they got so complicated.
Yeah, they did.
They had the timeouts, the delayed games and everything. I think they just got to get back and doing a couple things they do well and see what happens.
This game last year was a shootout. You know, everyone thought this was going to be a low-scoring game last year, and it became a shootout. And like the last team with the ball won the game last year, which was Boyertown. Scott, what are your feelings?
Well, I think it's kind of the opposite of the Pottstown Pottsgrove. Both teams are coming in to combine 1-7. So this is kind of a make it or break it, start the Liberty Division kind of game for both of these teams. I'm sure both programs are feeling the pressure of that. We saw Methacton, they do some good things. It just doesn't happen on a consistent basis. Good big gain on first down, and then second down you take a loss, and that's not going to get you first downs and get you down the field. They're still looking for their first touchdown. Boyertown, on the other hand, they're a ball control offense. They want to go downhill. They want to run the option. But Coach Pennypacker will tell you, as long as Pottsgrove was around running the veer, running that off tackle, it was their defense that always kept them close, and that so that they could control the game. And right now, with Boyertown giving up points on defense, they can't control the game with that option.
Yeah, well, they were scoring almost 30 a game, but giving up 36 a game. Obviously, that doesn't work out so well from that. And then the games they're going to feature right here on the PCTV Network Sports. They're going over to Bucktown. Perk Valley and Bucktown will be the feature game of the week, as you see right there on your screen. So those Vikings at 2-2 are going to take on the 3-1 Wildcats, which should be a good one. Perk Valley lost the first two, now has come back with 2 straight. Rick, tell us a little bit about the PV and O&J game.
Well, I think this is one I should pass off to Scott, because Scott teaches at PV and he lives in O&J. So he probably knows more about this. I just think it's going to be a great game. I think that, I just want to see what happens with the quarterback at O&J, how he handles that pressure that he's going to see. That 3-5 defense that they run, that PV runs, is just so hard to block.
Cooper Chamberlain will have some pressure on him.
We'll see how he handles that. And and I want to the Cole Peter line I want to see what he does with that secondary, because I think O&J playing some pretty good defense over there. I think they've done very well, but personally, your top 5 I watch until you beat Perk Valley. They're the best team. I mean, they have won back-to-back Pac-10 championships. Until someone beats them, they're the #1 team in my book. And someone's got to beat them. And I don't know if it's going to happen this weekend, but they're right back where they reloaded from last year. They're very good.
All right, excuse me, Rick. And again, Scott, to me, maybe the team that gets off on a fast start, gain some confidence early. Both these two teams still finding their way, and for this year with a young quarterback for O&J, maybe if they get a good quick start, that'll help them confidence-wise. Like I say, Cole Peterman and Robbie Heiss, those guys have been in some good big games before.
Yeah, well, and I think that's the mark of where, and I know coming up, as I was at Perk Valley and we were growing as a program, the hardest thing to overcome was the big game, where we would go over to Pottsgrove, and while I thought we were even in talent, or even maybe had a little bit more talent, I think Coach Pennypacker, a lot of his kids had more experience in big games. You're going to see that the battle of, am I better coming in 2-2 against really good opponents, or am I better coming in 3-1 where I was able to beat some teams? Now, PV got a little beat up. They got some injury issues. They have Malik Smith down. They have Gavin Euchre's got some issues. So they got some issues themselves getting into this game. But as Coach Pennypacker said, and to quote the old Ric Flair, all right, Perk Valley's only lost 1 Pac game in the last 4 years. So if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man.
You gotta beat him, right.
Well, that's good stuff. And a lot of good knowledge here on the show tonight. And again, I want to thank these two guys for stopping by. Hopefully next week we'll be at the Creekside Bar and Grill, be out on the outside patio, which should be a lot of fun. And we'll have some more stuff going on as we go over the first week of the divisional play here in the Pioneer Athletic Conference. Again, I want to thank Rick and Scott for stopping by. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we got the Player of the Week and his coach right here in studio at the Pottstown High School studios for PCTV Network. I'm Dave Ridenauer, and we'll be right back.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this. Doc's Irish Pub, the hottest new sports bar around. From live entertainment to countless draft beers. From awesome burgers to the new outside tiki bar. Numerous TVs and Doc's friendly service. Doc's Irish Pub is the place to be. Stop by Doc's today for a leisurely lunch, a quick cold beer, or a delicious bite to eat on a fall night. Doc's Irish Pub. The newly remodeled and renovated Creekside Sports Bar and Grill sits on the Landis Creek Golf Course. Featuring live entertainment and weekly specials, the Creekside offers something for everyone. Discounted beer and wing prices during all Eagles games brings a being at the game feeling. With tailgating, big screen TVs, and wearing your team colors, you can bring the fall spirit to Creekside. So stop by the Creekside Sports Bar and Grill and see all the fun things it has to offer.
Fred Beans Ford of Boyertown is located on Route 100, just 2 miles north of Boyertown. Fred Beans Ford provides automotive sales, service, parts, and body shop all in one place. They're open 6 days a week. Fred Beans Ford in Boyertown can be reached at 800-222-0243, 800-222-0243, or online at fredbeans.com.
Back in 1949, Claude A. Reinhardt founded his family business, which has served the Pottstown and Tri-County area for over 50 years. specializing in residential and commercial interior and exterior painting, paper hanging, and brick restoration. Thanks to the commitment of tradition and values, Claude A. Reinhardt Painters has once again received this year's Reader's Choice Award. So if you're thinking about having an estimate or just need some good advice, give Ron or Keith Reinhardt a call and put your painting and decorating needs in our hands.
Welcome to the office of John H. Greismeyer Jr., where we believe in the value of relationships. We take pride in giving you the assistance you need, where that involves income tax, payroll, or financial statement preparation. Located in Boyertown, we're committed to meeting the needs of the people in our community, and our team of skilled financial professionals look forward to working with you. John H. Greismeyer Jr. Call us or visit our website now.
At Vlahos Dunn Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Dunn Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Dunn Insurance, and we're in your community.
Hey, we're back here on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show. Again, I'm Dave Ryan, the Monday Morning Quarterback, and one of my favorite parts of the show is when we get a chance to meet some of the young men that play in the local high schools, and of course their head coaches as well. Before we get in there, I want to thank the Trophy and Plaque Shack again, my boy Charlie Pierce and Pat Montgomery for taking good care of us, and also Complete Graphics Incorporated, where they'll print anything but money. There are good people down there. Go down there and talk to Jimmy Ritwidge and all the guys down there. But I want to thank them for helping us out here as well. And, of course, Mike's Brick Oven Pizza as well. All right, our player of the week this week from the game we did Friday night, number 12, Josiah Wiggins, quarterback and corner for Pottstown, and his coach, second-year guy, Mark Fisher. First of all, let's get this straight. Are you a junior?
Yes, I'm a junior.
Okay. Because everywhere I looked in every program and every paper, they had you listed from sophomore to junior to senior. You are a junior.
Yes, I'm a junior.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. And congratulations on a big win. Coach, congratulations on a big win to go 3-1. All right, let's talk a little bit about your guy here now, Coach. Last year, he was a sort of a part-time quarterback, running back, a little do-it-all kind of a guy as a sophomore. You had Owen Morton, as a senior that played a lot. This year now you have some different ideas. You transferred or transitioned him to be a full-time quarterback. Tell us a little bit about that thought process and how that all came about.
Yeah, I mean, last year he was our running back. He had quite a few catches as well, and he's very athletic, certainly. And in the off season, it was a no-brainer. He was going to be our quarterback, but he's actually almost like our running back because of it carries Friday night. He sprints out. He can use his legs. We have designed quarterback runs in there for him, and he certainly has a great arm to throw the ball down the field. Yeah, he's a tremendous athlete.
So it's kind of a no-brainer for you. Like you sort of knew that going in to the all season. He was going to be your guy.
He was going to be the quarterback, and as I said, it's nice on any given play on a Friday night. You call a pass play, it could turn into a run play for him for a big gain. So
okay. Well, how's that transition worked? Are you starting to feel more comfortable now knowing that you are going to be the quarterback and you don't have to learn everybody else's position? Well, you do as a quarterback, but not run them yourself. How's that transition working out for you, Josiah?
I'm pretty comfortable with it because when I was younger, I played quarterback, so I'm used to I'm used to it, but I had to get used to the speed.
Okay.
At quarterback.
Okay. So, but you also play defense too,
yes,
which we don't want to forget about that. So you are one of the rare breeds. I played quarterback and defensive back in Pottstown back in the 70s. They haven't had a lot of guys that played both ways. You are certainly one of those guys. Are you getting used to being able to handle that? Because you're not pacing yourself, but you got to get used to the feel of that. How's that working for you?
It's working fine. I love to play defense. I love to be physical. You know, I love the feeling.
Okay. Well, I noticed you also like to talk a little bit down there. I saw you manned up on that outside in the red zone, and you were sort of talking a little bit to the Methacton guys a little bit about throw it your way and come on, I'll take whatever you got. That's all part of being that defensive back.
Yes.
You got to have that confidence. That is the way. Now, Coach, coming in your second year, you know, we talked to Scott Reed a little bit and everybody else who has coached over the years. You're making that transition from first year to second year. We talked a little bit about it at the preview show down in Springford. Things are a little bit different for you. Your program's starting to take hold. And how you feeling about things the way they're going right now for you in your second season at Pottstown?
It's going very well. We have a good group of players on our team this year, and most of our kids are juniors, which is good. And you know, they're taking to the offense and the defense very well. I think that the mentality on the team and the attitude is great. We have a bunch of guys that just go out and work hard. And I thought that the other night when we got into a dogfight with Methacton, you saw the fight out there defensively, and Josiah certainly offensively got out there and got after it. But our team's coming along very nice in the second year. They're taking the concepts that we want to do, and I heard you guys talking earlier on the show, and there's things that you want to put in, there's things that you don't, and you start to see that what works and what fits with your team, and that's where we're coming right now as a staff.
That's awesome. Now in the all season, you guys come together as well. That's always a big part of football, and part of what I used to love about football, both as a player and as a coach, was that all season. You guys get together in the weight room, you do some things, you work out the kinks. How was the all season this year between your sophomore and junior year, Josiah?
My off season, I didn't want it to be like last year. I didn't want to be 2-8 again. I wanted to have a better season, and for that to have a better season, it starts in the weight room.
So you guys got yourself in there as well. Now you play other sports.
Yes.
Yeah, you're a baseball guy too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which again, that's a good thing. Good thing to play baseball as well. So you don't have all the time to give up, but you still have certainly time to get in that weight room, get in there, and show your leadership. How's he taking to the leadership role as a junior quarterback, and certainly a guy that you're counting on for some big things, Coach? How's that working out for you with Mr. Wiggins here?
He's the leader out there for us. It was from game one. His film study of getting out there and directing players where to line up, telling the scout team players to move over from a 4-tech to a 5-tech. You can tell he's putting the time in. The players look up to him in the huddle, and he certainly is the leader of our football team.
Well, John Oyster is another guy that is like put in your category there. He's a leader. He's a feisty kind of a guy. Plays bigger than his actual size. Now he got a little nicked up on Friday night. How's Mr. Oyster doing?
He's doing all right. He's a little sore right now, but yeah, he's a competitor out there. He's certainly defensively at linebacker. I mean, he's all over the field. And John's the type of guy I'd say for everybody. He'd go through a brick wall for you, and that's how he plays. All heart, and he runs out there, and he made a lot of plays. I think he had 5 tackles for a loss the other night. So he's an outstanding kid. And
I'm sure you appreciate all the things he does for you as well, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, as you guys are the leaders on that side. Yeah, and then like I said, he's an old school Pottstown guy, and we keep trying to find more and more of those guys to get out there and play. So your pop was one of my guys. I tell you, he's a good guy, and I see him, and he said, "Did you know Josiah's my son?" I said, "Yes, I did." I said, "But I don't want you to show you any favoritism, man. I call it like I see it." And we had a good laugh at that as well with him after the game. But it's interesting now. You play Methacton, and I don't know, is it a hard game to get up for? They're interdivisional play. They haven't done very well. You beat them twice last year. You have Pottsgrove coming up ahead of you. Coach, were you a little worried about Yeah, they're kids. They're kids. How was your approach?
The approach was simple. That since the beginning of the year, we've kind of set individual goals defensively, and we talk about those each week. Or offensively, we want to do certain numbers. So I don't think we look at it in terms of getting up for a game or who it is. We try to reach our goals every week, and according to who we play, we set those numbers, and that was the big thing. But in terms of football, it's very simple. We want to execute, and we want to be good at tackling, and we try to get back to the basics and be very good at the fundamentals. But it's certainly about trying to motivate the kids to push through and reach goals each week.
We know you were down 3-0 to a team that hadn't won a game, hadn't scored a point at halftime. What was the message at halftime, Josiah? What did you guys decide between yourselves, and then obviously listening to the coach? Did you get you a little fired up a little bit? What was the message at halftime?
Coach talked to us at halftime, and he said you shouldn't be down on this team. That y'all have more heart than what y'all really think. We desire more. We should have been up more on Methacton, but fortunately that was the outcome. But we did what we had to do in the locker room to come out on the field and show us.
And obviously you scored 12 points in that second half, a nice throw. One of the things I noticed about your quarterback here, Mark, is that he has a heck of an arm. Sometimes he gets a little bit crazy with it. He throws a little too hard, throws a little bit too deep down there. But he certainly can make all the throws. How do you try to work a little bit to corral him to fire it in there a little bit, but also get a little touch in there to make these connections?
Yeah, I mean his arm's huge. I say all the time at practice out there, he's got that that closer of an arm, that 95-mile-an-hour fastball that comes in there, and. But no, it's the big thing is he can throw that ball downfield, and he made some nice throws the other night, and unfortunately we didn't come down with them all. But it's film study, and it's going over practice and showing where we can hit things and improving from there. So as I said, his athletic ability and his arm, we're going to hit some big plays as we get going here.
Absolutely, 5 for 19. We got to get that up closer to 50% and then some there, Josiah. But still, 123 yards rushing. You threw the touchdown pass. You did have one interception where that safety made a heck of a play, came out of nowhere, where it looked like he was wide open, and the safety must have covered 20-25 yards back there to pick that off. But you had 3 fumbles, Coach. You only lost one of them. A couple penalties, and clean all that up for Pottsgrove, right? Because you're not going to be able to put yourself behind the sticks if you're going to win against a team like that.
We talked about that today, and that was the big thing is we got to eliminate the mistakes that we made the other night. You can't turn the football over to a Pottsgrove football team. And certainly, one of our big things is that, getting physical up front this week. Pottsgrove's defensive line, and then certainly their offensive line is very physical. So it's corrections in practice this week and getting amped up for that.
Okay, now you have to get yourself ready on both sides of the ball. Obviously, the quarterback is the most important position on the squad, but you can't slack off defensively as well. Obviously, you're putting some time in, some film study. How are you getting yourself ready for this game against Pottsgrove?
For offensive side, being a quarterback, I like to watch the defense. I like to watch what the corners do, what the safeties do, how the DNs react to certain stuff. And on the defensive side, I just play defense, really.
Just play.
I just play.
Just play. Put you out there on that island.
Yeah.
Put you on the island one-on-one. They got Ryan Bedolis. They got a bunch of kids, as Coach Penny Packer and Scott Reed mentioned earlier. They do have some returners from that defensive side, and Bedolis was the Defensive Player of the Year last year in that defensive end position. Obviously, you have to make some adjustments there, and I'm not asking you to give us a game plan or anything, Coach, but obviously there's some players that you have to take care of and clean up for Friday night.
Yeah, certainly. As I said, they're very physical. Bedolis is a very good football player, and we're aware of they have some other good players over there. So for us, it's about getting back tomorrow, getting into the shoot for the line, and for the backs and receivers, we got to step up and make some plays. And certainly, I think we have a good football team, but we just need to get back and turn it up front and get the run game going.
Well, it's always, and like I said, when I was a young coach as well, you're looking for that signature win. You win a couple of games that most people think, what, Pottstown's better than this team. They should beat them. You should beat Methacton. You should beat Oxford, whomever you play. Kutztown. Now all of a sudden you have a team that, a lot of people say, Pottsgrove looks to be a little bit better. They're 4-0. They won all these games. Here's an opportunity for you guys to have a signature win. Does that ever cross your mind? Like, let's beat a team who's really, really good?
I mean, this is a big rivalry. This goes back a ways, and I know I listen to the players that have friends on the other team, and certainly it would be a huge win. From a coaching standpoint, and what we had to say to the players is basically that we're out there looking at this as the next game. It's in our path as we want to lead our goals to continue to win every football game. So for us, we're taking it as this is just the next game in there, and we need to play a very good football game against a very good Pottsgrove team.
Now, obviously, starting the game off on the right foot. Like you came out slow against Methacton. You looked a little sluggish. You had a hard time making first downs, and then second half, obviously, you came out and you took care of business. How important is it for you guys to get a good start on Friday against a veteran team like Pottsgrove?
We're going to need a big start because Pottsgrove is going to come out with fire and energy, and that's the same energy we're going to need going into Pottsgrove.
And you got to match that play for play as well. Home game for you, Josiah. Get that band fired up. Get the cheerleaders going. Hopefully the student body will come out. Hopefully you have a nice night that the weather is not a factor and the people will come out for the game. Tell them right now, Josiah, get all those Pottstown people out there for the game Friday night. Go ahead, man. You can do it. Get on there. You gotta promote it, man. It's the crosstown rival, huh?
Crosstown rival this week. Pottstown versus Pottsgrove, Friday night, 7 o'clock at Pottstown. Be there.
Be there or be square, that's for sure. And I go back even to when I played, we beat Pottsgrove for 25 straight years, and then they finally, they turned things around a little bit. But back in the day, Pottstown used to handle the Grove and take care of business there. Greg Memorial Field, not a better place to play on, and hopefully you guys will be as excited as we are about all that stuff. And we're looking forward to a real good game, and I have a lot of interest in that ball game. Grades okay? Everything
Yes.
Good that way?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we've got a lot of youngsters out there that watch here, and you know how important the grades are, as well as cutting it in on the field and classroom as well. Coach, I know you guys preach that all the time.
We do. We have study halls, and we have an academic monitor, and we it's you can't be an athlete for us if you can't get the academics done. And we preach all the time. If you want to go on to the next level of football and college, and it's grades have to come first.
That's good, and get the student body out there on Friday night and support these guys. They've been out there working in the dog days of August and all the rain and sweat and humidity that they've had. And we're looking for a good one. Pottstown takes on Pottsgrove on Friday night. And Josiah, before you go, I have a couple of things here for you that I want you to take home and remember us here on the Monday Morning Quarterback, and only a junior. Got a lot more times maybe to get yourself back on here. Again, I want to thank the people at the CGI, Jimmy Ritwidge and his brothers and all the gang, for being so generous to us here on the show. And here's a certificate naming you the Player of the Week for the Monday Morning Quarterback. And, of course, my guy Charlie Pierce and Pat Montgomery, our little mini Heisman there for you, so you can put that right up there on the TV set so you can look at that every day and say, this is our deal. But congratulations, man, and good luck. Best of luck to you, my man. Mark, again, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I'm glad we could get you on, and it all worked out, and we're all rooting for you.
Appreciate that.
You know, the heck with Penny Packer and those guys. we're gonna play some good football against the Falcons on a Friday night. Get there Friday night, 7 o'clock, Greg Memorial. I'm Dave Ridenauer, the Vlahos Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show. We're going to take a quick time out. We come back, and we got the dynamic duo to break down the Eagles and see what's going on at quarterback with Mr. Carson Wentz right after this.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
Back in 1949, Claude A. Reinhardt founded his family business, which has served the Pottstown and Tri-County area for over 50 years, specializing in residential and commercial interior and exterior painting, paper hanging, and brick restoration. Thanks to the commitment of tradition and values, Claude A. Reinhardt Painters has once again received this year's Reader's Choice Award. So if you're thinking about having an estimate or just need some good advice, give Ron or Keith Reinhardt a call and put your painting and decorating needs in our hands.
Doc's Irish Pub, the hottest new sports bar around. From live entertainment to countless draft beers. From awesome burgers to the new outside tiki bar. Numerous TVs and Doc's friendly service. Doc's Irish Pub is the place to be. Stop by Doc's today for a leisurely lunch, a quick cold beer, or a delicious bite to eat on a fall night. Doc's Irish Pub.
Established in 1916 and granted membership into the Philadelphia Golf Association in 1920, Brookside Country Club is well known for its challenging layout and true, fast greens. The William Gordon design provides a challenge for golfers of all abilities. Brookside Country Club offers traditional club amenities in a family-friendly atmosphere. Brookside Country Club, where elegance and excellence are par for the course.
At Vlahos Dunn Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Dunn Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Dunn Insurance, and we're in your community.
Hey, believe it or not, we're back here on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show, but making a cameo and a guy who's going to grace us with his presence, my buddy, part of the dynamic duo for many, many years now, Joseph C., or Joe C., and he's back.
What's up, David?
You back?
How
Good
are
to see you.
How are you? Sorry I missed you last week.
Yeah, that's okay. It's all good.
I was down there. I was actually.
You were at the game.
Yeah, we were sitting there, and the lightning started, and then it started raining. And I looked at my buddies, and I said, chances of us getting hit by lightning is probably nil. But once it starts pouring, we're going to go underneath. It started raining a little harder, and we went underneath, and it was like sardines.
Oh, I bet.
It was unbelievable.
And hot like it is.
It was so
here.
hot. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, I think this is hotter. But
this is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, we get all this crazy weather. But it is good to see you, buddy. It's always great to start out with another full season. Next week, we'll be at the Creekside Bar and Grill, formerly the Sand Trap, down there in Limerick, out on the patio. We're hoping that the weather gods are going to be on our side so we can be outside and have a bunch of fun down there. So we're looking forward to that next Monday night. And you're going to be there, Joseph?
Yeah, I believe I will. Yes.
All right, and I'll send you stuff so you can GPS and you won't get lost.
I know where it is.
You know what it is?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all right. So we're all good. All right, buddy. Well, I guess obviously the first thing we have to say is the Eagles are 1-1. You know, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. But I guess the big news is that number 11 is going to be back in the fold, huh?
Yeah, Schefter reported yesterday, and we're kind of thinking, oh, maybe it's a little bit premature, but you know what? They announced today that he's going to not only be cleared to play, but he's actually going to start.
Well,
So-
I would think that once he's cleared to play, they got to put him in there. I mean, he's been chomping at the bit. He wanted to start week number 1. You know that, and by all accounts, and by what you saw on the early reports, that was his goal. His goal was to do that for sure.
It's been 10 months, and an injury like that, because it was not only the ACL, it was the MCL, is a minimum of 12 months. So it's kind of like a little miracle.
Well, but he's young. He's certainly young.
Yeah.
And I guess with today's technology and equipment and medicine and, you know, comebacks, the trainers, all the stuff, you know, he's ready to go. But I'm glad. I know Nick Foles did a great job at the end of last season, but I'm done seeing him. I'm done seeing him. I really
You've had enough?
I had enough. I had enough of Nick Foles. I really did. he was not very good in week 1. They were very fortunate to win that game. And yesterday, I'm just so used to, seeing guys, I mean, even Aaron Rodgers yesterday on one leg, the way he manipulates in that pocket and makes throws, that's the stuff that Carson Wentz has the ability to do. Now, I'm not going to say he's Aaron Rodgers yet, but he could be Aaron Rodgers-esque as his career goes on.
Right. And, you got to give it to Nick Foles, though. I mean, he's held it together.
He
and
has.
What he did in the Super Bowl was unbelievable, but that's well past us now.
Right.
And in order for the Eagles to do better, they need Alshon Jeffries back.
Well, I think they need more than him. And I was going to get into this a little bit later then, but, Howie Roseman, they all put him on his pedestal, and he has done some good things. But for them to start the season with their dearth of wide receiver, I mean, I thought was silly. Well, they had nobody other than Aguilar.
But then you have Des Bryant's out there, but you don't want to bring him in because he's going to destroy.
Josh Gordon had
but
been
but listen, they said that about LeGarrette Blount, and they said that about Ajayi. So I don't know. They said that about T.O. too. Look what T.O. did when he came. So listen, all right, we know he's out there. Josh Gordon got traded to the Patriots today.
Yeah.
I think that's unbelievable.
Well, but
I think, and the Eagles passed on him.
Well, they did, but look at the Patriots had good luck with Randy Moss, who had the troubled pass. LeGarrette Blount was another guy. And I'm sure I'm missing one other guy, but I can't think who it was. But they go up there.
Did you play for the Patriots? No, I'm sorry.
Would I?
Did you? No,
no,
you missed one, did you?
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But,
they would have straightened me out. Yeah.
But the thing is that now you give, if Gordon's there, I'm just going off on a tangent a little bit about the Patriots. You give Gordon to Tom Brady. It's like it's Christmas time for him.
Well, his whole thing
he just got a gift.
Well, and his whole thing is, can he stay on track?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He gets distracted. Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, everyone.
But that could be anybody anywhere.
Right.
And you know that.
Hey, I'm all about giving somebody a second chance, and we'll see. He's got the opportunity of a lifetime. If he blows this one now,
he's had more than a second.
Well,
chance.
I know, but I'm saying he's got the opportunity of a lifetime right now, and if he messes this one up, then it's hard to be in his corner.
Yeah, it's totally on him.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Totally on him.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the NFC East, Joe.
Okay.
The 3 teams are 1-1. We have the Redskins, we have the Eagles, and we have the Cowboys at 1-1. And the Giants are not very good at 0-2. That game was really kind of hard to watch last night, the Cowboys and the Giants. And unless they find some way to get a new offensive line, it's going to be a tough year for Eli Manning. And Saquon Barkley is trying the best to bail him out in some situations, but they can't get the ball down the field to Beckham. They can't get the ball down the field to Shepard.
He doesn't have enough time. He doesn't have enough time.
I mean, he's doing Chuck and Duck like there's no tomorrow.
But he always did that.
I know.
He always did. I call him Chuck and Duck Manning.
Yeah.
But you look at even the Redskins with the addition of Alex Smith. And you say whatever you want about Alex Smith, but he's a decent quarterback.
He is.
And I thought the best thing that happened to the Redskins was getting Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Peterson's only 33 years old, and he's got a little chip on his shoulder. They got let go by not only the Minnesota Vikings, but the New Orleans Saints as well.
Well, he never even got really a chance.
He didn't really get a chance because you had
Kamara
and Ingram. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I didn't like that pickup. I mean, to me was a no-win for Peterson. That wasn't a good spot.
He was in a bad spot.
Yeah, he needs to be
a good spot.
Guy.
This is a good spot for him. Geis got hurt, and he's out for the year, so it opened up the door for him. Yeah, I think he's going to have a heck of a season. I think he's going to.
How about our guy, though, number 11, comes back to haunt us again?
Deshaun. Do you know he's 5-1? He's 5-1 versus the Eagles. He's played the Eagles 6 times between Washington and Tampa, and he's 5-1 when he steps on the field.
Of all the guys that they let go, I really could care less about Deshaun.
That was Chip Kelly.
I know
that was Chip Kelly.
But he was the one guy I didn't want them to see let go. I mean, McCoy was he was very good, but it didn't upset me. But Deshaun Jackson, I mean, when Alshon Jeffrey comes back, and if they have Aguilar and Deshaun Jackson, now all of a sudden you have something credible.
Right.
Right now, I mean, they got practice squad guys out there playing in big roles, and now they're doubling Ertz, and Ertz can't get open, although he made some catches yesterday. And it's so funny. I know he's one of your guys, but even my kids, they call him No Yak Zach. No yards after contact, because he has yet to break a tackle in his pro career. But, They can't stretch the field at all.
No,
They cannot stretch the field.
No, because Aguilar is not going to do it for you, and that's it. There's nobody else. I mean, you're talking even, and I'm telling you, the loss of Selleck, it was big for the receiving crew, not just the tight ends, but for the receiving crew, his leadership in the clubhouse and on the field.
Well, I also like Trey Burton, too. I thought he was getting ready to come into his own
exactly,
a little bit.
exactly. Trey Burton as well.
I liked his athleticism for
Yep.
sure. And we really haven't seen much of Dallas Goedert yet, their #1 pick. Obviously, he's having some problems with his with the playbook or whatever because they have no faith in him. They do not trust him at all. I mean, I looked at this guy and said, holy smokes, what a monster. He's another Gronk-type guy.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
But he hasn't been able, I mean, that's Perkins' guy or whoever else is ahead of him now. And I'm thinking, now this Goddard really must be screwing up because usually they give the draft picks first priority when they're getting ready to do this stuff, Joseph. And so, but, yesterday, I don't know. It was okay.
Listen, when
Conor
McGregor comes on, I mean,
Ryan
Fitzpatrick. Did you see him?
I loved it.
I was like, what?
I loved
Is that Conor McGregor?
That was cool, though. That was really cool. And then he had Deshaun
there. Totally transformed
yes,
himself.
He is.
Totally transformed himself. So
he is not
when
the
he
little
comes out,
guy from Yale or Harvard or wherever the heck he's from.
And these guys love him. And I think Jameis Winston's going to have a hard time getting his starting position back.
I think that finally these programs, whether you're college or professional, are getting tired of these guys that you just have to, there's so much work, they are drama all the time. Yeah. And Jameis Winston really, for all the drama he's produced, hasn't produced as much on the field. He has not come up with big wins, and it's just always something around those guys. And, they get rid of him. Des Bryant's still sitting out there. Josh Gordon, which I don't know who else would have taken him other than New England. They said there were a couple other teams. But, they're just tired of those guys. Seattle, look at them. They got rid of Michael Bennett, who my kid was all excited about, and Richard Sherman. They're tired of those kind of guys. They just want to play football anymore.
You're talking about Bennett and then the defensive line, but I think the person that really is the big loss for the Eagles on the defensive line is Jernigan.
Yeah, I like Tim Jernigan for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, listen, let's take a quick time out. We got a bunch of things to do here in the remainder of our show. We have our game balls. We have our by the numbers. We have our 5-packs. We got all kinds of stuff working for you here. Well, he's Joe C. I'm Dave Ridenhour. Between us, we're the dynamic duo, and we'll be right back on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
At Vlahos Dunn Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Dunn Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Dunn Insurance, and we're in your community.
Doc's Irish Pub, the hottest new sports bar around. From live entertainment to countless draft beers. From awesome burgers to the new outside tiki bar. Numerous TVs and Doc's friendly service. Doc's Irish Pub is the place to be. Stop by Doc's today for a leisurely lunch, a quick cold beer, or a delicious bite to eat on a fall night. Doc's Irish Pub.
Back in 1949, Claude A. Reinhardt founded his family business, which has served the Pottstown and Tri-County area for over 50 years, specializing in residential and commercial interior and exterior painting, paper hanging, and brick restoration. Thanks to the commitment of tradition and values, Claude A. Reinhardt Painters has once again received this year's Reader's Choice Award. So if you're thinking about having an estimate or just need some good advice, give Ron or Keith Reinhardt a call and put your painting and decorating needs in our hands.
The newly remodeled and renovated Creekside Sports Bar and Grill sits on the Landis Creek Golf Course. Featuring live entertainment and weekly specials, the Creekside offers something for everyone. Discounted beer and wing prices during all Eagles games brings a being at the game feeling. With tailgating, big screen TVs, and wearing your team colors, you can bring the fall spirit to Creekside. So stop by the Creekside Sports Bar and Grill and see all the fun things it has to offer.
Back here at our Paso High School studio, where it is extremely hot, the air conditioner has been turned off, and Joe and I are sitting here in the sauna, and we're hanging in there. We're tough.
You didn't pay the bill?
It's like playing
You
down
didn't
in
pay the
Tampa
bill?
Bay.
You didn't pay the bill?
It's like playing down Tampa Bay.
And my daughter was at the game
Was
yesterday,
she?
by the way. She sends me a text because I was actually thinking of going down, and $200 a ticket. So her and her boyfriend went. She sends me a picture of herself. She has an Eagle shirt on, and they were giving away Tampa Bay hats. So she had the her Eagle shirt on and a Tampa Bay hat. I'm like, what are you doing with the hat? She's like, it's 100 degrees here.
I bet.
We're in the sun. It's sweltering. Glad you didn't come here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was hot there as well.
All right, well, let's, we do a game ball each week. Let's throw that in there. My good friend Paul Strauss up there at the styling room at 943 North Hanover Street, where I'll be going here shortly to get another trim job there. But there's my buddy right there, and again, he's another guy who's been with me from the get-go, and he's a good man. He goes down to his army reunion. They're going to be doing that again, and 72 years old, he's doing good and still going strong. That's my good buddy Paul Strauss. And who's your game ball this week there, Joseph?
I'm going to have to go Patrick Mahomes.
I figured that.
23 of 28, 326 yards, 6 TDs.
2018, you're still Mr. Obvious. Yes,
yeah, well, hey, I mean, hey, listen,
doing them commercials
when Howie Long says he didn't believe the hype that this guy was like the next Brett Favre,
yeah, he is.
and then Howie Long comes out and goes, I guess he is.
Yeah, he is.
This guy's the real deal.
Yeah,
10 TD passes in 2 weeks.
I know.
It's nuts.
All right, well, I'm going to go down to Jacksonville. I'm going to go Blake Bortles. Blake
your
Bortles
boy.
is a guy that gets hammered all the time. Oh, they're never going to win with him. Blah, blah. But he does a good thing. He beats Tom Brady, beats them up. He 29 for 45 for 377 yards and 4 TDs against the hated Patriots, who knocked them off in the playoffs last year. So let's give Blake Bortles a little love here as he comes back and has a big game.
Especially without Fournette.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
I thought he played a great game, and he held on to it, but then all of a sudden it looked like Brady was bringing him back, and Bortles held it together. I actually like your
And by the numbers.
pick.
Well, thank you.
You're
by
welcome.
the numbers. Our good buddy Jack Griesmer. I know that he had this commercial made up, and he used to sort of like it in the beginning because it was it said Griesmeyer or Gressmeyer or whatever. But that is John H. Griesmer Jr., and we're going to try to get this thing straightened out. But by the numbers, we want to thank Jack. He's been another guy who's been supportive for all these years. And I'm going to go with my fantasy guy. Now I'm Mr. Fantasy. We play over at Doc's Irish Pub. What a fun time that is. And I don't know if I think it's Adam Thielen.
Adam Thielen. Wide receiver from Minnesota.
31.1 points.
Nice.
He got us yesterday.
Nice.
And you're part of my team. It's the Monday morning quarterback team.
Did you name the team?
Yeah, Monday morning quarterback team.
Oh, you named it that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
you're part of it too. I got to get you hooked up somehow. I don't know how to do all that. But anyway, I'm going to say Adam Thielen, my guy, by the numbers, 31.1 points in fantasy as we had a big win, our first win. We are now 1-1.
Well, my guy is Fitzmagic. Fitzmagic.
Yeah.
I actually had him on my bench yesterday because
nice.
I have Goff and Winston.
Okay.
And I had picked up Fitzpatrick for
Winston.
but I played Goff.
Yeah.
I didn't think. I had no idea.
Yeah, well,
but he had 37 points.
Yeah,
he had 37 points.
What Fitzmagic have, like 40?
No, Fitzpatrick had 37.
Okay. And
37. Goff had 22.
Okay.
22.
So you lost
I
a
didn't.
little bit there.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that's all good.
Fitzmagic, they're calling him.
Yeah, I'll say. Well, it's funny, that NFC East is really starting to heat up. And you know what? Do we have time for one more commercial break, Matt, and then come back with our 5-pack picks, or do you want to cruise right in? All right, we're going to keep going there. We'll take care of that. First of all, I want to get you the Big Frank question of the week.
Okay.
Yeah, I got Bigsy Batara and the guys from Clean Cut and all the Batara family. I love them, and I want to thank them for continuing to keep this going. That was one of the best nights ever when Michael Vick went crazy against the Redskins. We were down there with our good buddy, Big Frank Batara. And we had a good time with them. But my Big Frank question of the week has to do with the Colts. We're going to go Baltimore/Indianapolis Colts. Who was the best quarterback ever from LSU that happened to play for the Colts? best quarterback ever, LSU, who happened to play for the Colts.
Well, I'm thinking Jeff George, but I know Jeff George.
He's from Illinois.
Illinois, right?
Yeah.
Who was the quarterback from Purdue that played there? And don't say Drew Brees.
No, I
Brees
don't
is
know.
from
I don't
Purdue,
know. I don't know who
and
played
I
there.
can't think of his name.
I
But I know it's not him.
No,
I know
it's
who
not
it
him.
is.
Do you?
Yeah.
Who?
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
Burt Jones.
Burt Jones. Slinging
Yeah,
Burt Jones. I
yeah.
used to love
Oh,
watching
yeah.
him play down there in Baltimore for the Baltimore Colts. It was
Yeah,
at that time.
yeah.
But Burt Jones is the right answer, and we're trying to sort of connect it to the games if we can. And I always loved Burt Jones when he played for the
with
Colts.
Don Nottingham and Norm Bulash, and I think actually Bulash used to play for
the Eagles. Yeah.
And I don't know if Bulash played for the Colts.
Yeah, he did. I think
he
so.
did towards the end.
Yeah.
So there's a little connection there. But oh my,
Absolutely.
you're going back.
Yeah, it is going back.
Going back. Wow.
Going back in there. And then, of course, we do our 5-pack picks that, I had fun with Neil a couple weeks ago at Doc's Irish Pub, as I was able to knock him off. We want to thank Kurt and all the guys, Paul Bauer, Jimmy DeCinio. Get over there to Izzy's on 3rd and tell them that we sent you. We have a lot of fun. We go there for trivia on Thursday nights as well. That's always lots of fun. Our 5-pack picks. Here we go, real quickly.
Go ahead.
Here we go, sir. Tonight's game, we got Seattle at Chicago, Monday Night Football.
You know what? Baldwin's hurt. I'm going to go Chicago.
Okay.
I'm going to go Chicago.
I'm going to give you the star this year, so we know, and I'm going to be I'm the squiggly line, so there is
Star.
no
right?
doubt.
Aren't you the star of this show?
I am,
Oh,
but I'm going to give you that, and I'm the squiggly line. I'm going Chicago as well. All right?
Kiss of death.
Now, this
Right,
is
go
sort of
ahead.
interesting. New England travels to Detroit. Matt Patricia was a defensive coordinator, is now the head coach at Detroit.
New England. I don't care where it's going to be.
Okay. All right.
Brady will not lose 2 weeks in a row.
All right, and Tennessee at Jacksonville.
A little letdown. And if, I don't know, Mariota.
Tennessee at
Gabbert.
Jacksonville.
Ooh, I'm going to say letdown for Jacksonville. I'm going to take Tennessee.
Okay, I'm going the other side on that one. I'm glad.
That's your boy, right?
Yeah, my boy Bortles. Now, how about Matty Ice and the New Orleans Saints? So we're going to have a shootout there between
That's
Drew Brees
interesting, too.
and Matty Ice at Atlanta.
I'm going to take Atlanta.
Okay. I'll go against you, too, even though I don't think New Orleans is going to win this game, just to be different. And, of course, our last game is Indy at Eagles.
Indy at Eagles. Carson Wentz back. I'll take the Eagles. I'll take
Come
the
on,
Eagles.
dude.
Nah,
Don't be giving me your drama
Oh,
stuff.
no.
You're
I mean,
going Eagles on that.
Hey, listen. Andrew Luck is healthy.
Yeah.
And when, I don't know, remember, like 2015, your fantasy football, Luck was one of the top few quarterbacks.
I like him. I like him a lot.
All right.
I like him a lot.
All right.
I'm going Eagles as well. All right, Joseph.
So
well,
wait,
I'll tell you what.
real quick.
Go ahead.
Are you 1-0? Did you win?
In what?
2-0? What your
In my
fantasy?
No, 1-1.
1-1?
Got
Okay.
beat the first week.
Okay.
I didn't know a little bit about it, and I didn't make moves
You
and
didn't-
stuff. I didn't
okay.
know how to do it. I don't know how to. I'm not that computer
Drop
savvy.
ad.
Yeah.
Like you
but
got to
I'm
get
getting-
rid
I'm
of
getting the hang of it
Devlin.
now.
You got to drop Devlin.
I know, yeah, Jimmy, my boy Jimmy. I love him. I picked him in the 16th round. My man Jimmy Devlin. Hey, listen. Next week we'll be at Creekside Bar and Grill down in Limerick, PA. Limerick, PA. It is right off of that big road there, Lewis Road. Stop on down. We'll have some fun. Joe C's going to make it again 2 weeks in a row. So we're going to have a lot of fun down there, and a couple surprises for you as well. I'm Dave Ridenour. He's Joe C. Thanks for watching the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show.